welcome to our show. Thank you, Deborah, for showing up to our podcast show, Connecting the Community with Chris. We have a special guest today, and Deborah Falzon is from Keller Williams, and he's going to give us some great senior advice and the tips, and especially when it comes down to your home, but really just want to connect with Deborah and get to know you and tell us a little bit of, background and history and education about yourself, how you actually got into the real estate industry.
Well, Chris, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I've been listing and selling homes in the area since 2002. Born and raised in West Bloomfield, graduate of West Bloomfield High School a long time ago. Got into the business just 1 week in the middle of winter. So I knew a girlfriend. She said, Deborah, have you ever thought about getting into real estate? And I'm like, oh, no, I was running a plumbing company. I was busy. I had no desire to change companies. And she said, well, you ought to think about going to real estate school. And then 2 days later, my brother said the same thing. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. So I believe that God sends us signs. And so, yeah, with the following Monday, I was signed up for Namir George's class and been loving it ever since.
That's great. And you said it right there too, is you love what you do, which is really important. I know a lot of people that we try to connect with, and a lot of the groups that we work with, is that you could tell the passion everybody's in, especially, and I could tell you too, is that you took a liking to us here in our organization here at Affinities because of the passion that you had for seniors. And I felt like we had that connection right away. I know because you felt like that process from being in your home and transitioning from home to, let's say, for example, going into an assisted living is a big decision, but also too, there's planning. There's a lot of great planning that you can do way ahead of time to be able to make that transition smooth.
Absolutely.
And I learned that from you throughout time being in our senior compass group, as a resource. And I think it'll be really great for family members to be able to hear this podcast show and talk and listen in on if you, for example, have parents. And if you have parents that have been living in their house forever, and it's just that these decisions to make to be able to leave their home is big. It's huge. One of the biggest decisions that they will have to make. And so that's what we wanted to kind of zero in on. And it's like, what are the first steps someone should take when considering downsizing?
So typically, most people that are downsizing have lived in their homes. That my clients that I run across have lived in their homes for many, many years. And, things tend to accumulate depending on where you want to downsize to. If you want to go to an independent living community apartment, I do have Denise, who's part of our senior compass group, is a professional organizer. So she'll go into your apartment, draw out a floor plan and measure the apartment, and then come back to the house and work side by side with the client saying, okay, well, this is the space you have, because it's a little overwhelming to go from 4,000 square feet to 1,000 square feet. And over time, we've just accumulated so many possessions. Once Denise helps you through the organizing process and you've decided what's going and what's not going, my next suggestion is bring the family in. Let them take their cherished memories and things that are in your home that they'll hold on to forever and pass that down to their kids. Marina owns Blue Moon Estate Sales. She'll come in and they do just such a fantastic job. They've done estate sales for my own personal family, and they come in, they set everything up beautifully, and they get you top dollar for what's left over.
Yeah, you explain to the public what exactly is estate sales? What's the purpose of it?
So it just helps you liquidate your home assets and get some money out of it. Instead of making the big donation to Salvation Army, they'll help you get what what you can out of your personal items that are not going with you.
Yeah, and so, and advertise it too. It seems like that they advertise it too, so the public knows, hey, if you want to come at this point in time, it's an event scheduled.
And they have a following. Blue Moon has been, I believe Marina is third generation with this company. They have a huge following. And when they did, so we have a historical farm in Howell that had 3 generations of accumulated possessions. And they were able to set everything up so it made sense. You know, when you shop, you like organization, not chaos to shop in. And you know, put the things up front that they knew. We had we had over 2 dozen deer mounts, and they sold them all.
Wow. Yeah,
A month.
by utilizing their resources.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
can imagine doing that on my own.
no, I wouldn't even know the first place to turn.
Yeah, me either.
But yeah, and then they advertise all over online. They take photos of all the things and draws the people in,
Yeah,
and she has a really nice sale.
that's great. It sounds like a lot of value. I know with economic changes currently right now, there has been, and so I know that we're always adjusting with that, especially with the market the way it is now. We've changes have happened in the past year, even months right now. So, like, what would you say? What are the current right now, in the real estate world conditions that are affecting the market, in your opinion?
Well, we're towards the end of October 2022, and the first half of this year was chaos and pandemonium. It was the strongest seller's market I've ever seen. 8 buyers for every house, offering well over asking and doing appraisal guarantees. And what an appraisal guarantee means is that if it appraises for a certain dollar amount that's less than the contract price, they'll bring the cash to closing. Well, now, since probably mid-June, we've shifted back to a more balanced market, which is, I mean, it's nice for both sides. You know, the sellers are still getting nice offers, but the buyers are actually having a chance to get a home, because when you're competing with 8 other people, it's tough. And the buyers were getting frustrated and fatigued, and now it's just a little more smooth and nice for everybody.
Yeah, so that was good. A lot of people are on the fence, like, should I sell now? Should I sell wait? Should I sell when it's high or should I sell when it's low? And that's always a decision to be able to make depending on the market. But I think that was really good update where we are right now. If you had to say right now, the current unique considerations that you would say for selling a home versus say in the spring, what would be the like unique considerations for if you want to sell now or wait?
So fall and winter, the inventory is a lot lower because people want to wait for spring. But the issue with spring is now you're going to be out there with all your competition. So I think that your likelihood to sell quicker and easier would be in the fall and winter markets, because you have a lot less competition to deal with.
Mhm. Right. And so what may you need to be done, say, for an existing home prior to selling in today's market?
First and foremost, curb appeal, because if they drive by the house and you don't have curb appeal, they're going to keep on driving. So make sure that all your lawn looks great, all your beds look nice. Stand back and take a look at your front door. Over time, our front doors get beaten up because they're used so much. Maybe it needs a coat of paint, maybe it needs some new hardware. Pitch that mat that's been out there for 20 years and get yourself a fresh new welcome mat, and maybe put something on the porch, seasonal item, like right now, put some mums out.
Mums and
Just
pumpkins.
pumpkins, pops of color make people smile, flowers make people smile. So just yeah, just make sure that your curb appeals is there. The next part of staging is your entry. When you walk into your foyer, what does it look like? Are there shoes and coats and all that stuff, because that's their very first impression of what the rest of the house is going to look like. Next is the kitchen. Kitchens sell houses. Most people are thinking, well, I'm not spending money, I'm redoing a kitchen. Well, when I come in and do staging, I have tips and tricks to take an older kitchen and make it look a little bit newer. Same with bathrooms. Bathrooms are a huge selling feature. Again, I go out to Marshall's and get yourself some fluffy white towels. Think like boutique hotel. Same within your bedrooms. If you have white duvets, use those. If not, put like a white sheet on the bed and make your bed linens. It makes the room look brighter and airier, and it shows better.
Mhm. Yeah, and so I know that it matters and presentation, right? And so it's important to, especially I'm assuming that a lot of seniors, like they're not really into doing all that kind of stuff. So I mean, like, how do you handle that? I know like it could be a generational switch for them if you come in and start fluffing up their house and they really have no desire to, but you're like, I got talk to them about this if they really want to sell this home. You come across scenarios like that where it's like
Um,
don't want
it,
to do anything, but have to convince mom and dad that it's really important.
well, so I'm not opposed to bringing in my own linens from my house and making beds for
Okay,
photography.
so you're okay, photography, right?
And I will bring in my own towels, so you don't have to buy anything.
Okay.
But I come from a philosophy, help me help you. I'm trying to get you the maximum amount for your home. If you just say, Deborah, don't touch anything, that's fine too. But I'm just trying to help you get the most for your home as possible.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and that's what the purpose of that they have an agent, right? To be able to accomplish that. For example, I know that the timeline a lot of people ask is that when should I do it? What for to list my home, or for example, to sell my home or moving. So like let's just start with one. Like when is the best timeline for listing your home versus selling, say, and also moving?
So typically,
Is there?
well, it kind of looks like this. So there's a listing presentation. So we look at the market, we come up with a number. And then once everybody's on board with that, we've got some paperwork, and then I bring my photographers in. I stage, then they shoot. And then I like to launch a property late Thursday, early Friday. Because what happens is, depending on the property, the weekends are crazy. And a lot of times I have to tell my sellers that they're going to have to leave for the weekend. And then by the end of the weekend, there's a contract.
Open house, I'm assuming,
Yep.
involved with that too.
Yep.
So leave it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's why and obviously that's why you say leave, because you like to show the house and then make appointments throughout the day.
Right. And you have to, for every appointment, you have to leave. So if you have back-to-back appointments and maybe like a 20-minute gap, you just want to go home and, oh, and then I got to go again. You might as well just
Yeah.
go.
Go. Yeah, exactly. And you got, and now you have to confirm too, the owner of the house, confirms your appointment,
Always.
right?
Always.
So that's always, remember that is a feature when that happens. Now, say the benefits for downsizing before it is absolutely necessary. What are there benefits to that, to downsizing before?
Well, a lot of my seniors are living in those big colonials, and the bathing areas are upstairs. So it's contending with a full flight of stairs, and something could happen. I mean, something could happen to us. Not quite, well, I'm considered a young senior, but having access to bathing and that kind of thing. A lot of these independent living communities are fun. They've got so many things going on, and I know a lot of my seniors that go to like an Independence Village or an American House love it because there's always people around and things to do. And
Mhm. So if you now were had to say, how does an agent usually typically help with this process now? Like what tips can you give for seniors considering downsizing, say in the next like 6 months to 1 year? I know we discussed it a little bit right now, but are there any extra tips that you can give to them about if they're starting to think about
I mean, downsizing doesn't even have to be in a senior living community. It could be
ranch homes, right? I'm
a
assuming
ranch home, a condo. There's 55 and 55 plus communities
independent
in this
living.
area, kind of like think villages of Florida. There's a Dow Web community going in Milford, which is pretty exciting.
What is that? I'm not sure.
Dow Web is a really nice
Senior living
55 and
community.
over community, kind of when you like think villages, like golf courses, pools,
Hmm.
all the things, all the amenities and stuff.
You don't have to be a disability or chronic condition to be able to move in these communities, but when it comes down to when you do, selling your home, one, I think could put you in a financial position to be able to also live the rest of your life worry free and use those funds towards living in a fun, safer environment and not
Exactly.
thinking about waiting. Don't wait for you to be disabled to make the decision or your parents to be disabled. They should live their best life now.
Agreed.
And then they can do that at the home too. But there's decisions to make too to have, help at the home and live their best life and continue to still live in their, still in their environment that they want. Um, what are signs you would say for seniors and their family members you'll begin to notice when they are when there are indications that a loved one would benefit from living in a smaller environment such as a condo?
One of the key are just the house isn't clean like it used to be. So you notice that it's a little more challenging for them to do those things. Personally, the whole reason why I became a senior real estate specialist is because I walked this journey with my mother. And she was extremely independent, did not want to listen to me because she was an independent woman. But I tried to encourage her to go to Independence Village. Um, she was unable to drive anymore, so she was very isolated and she felt very lonely, even though she had myself and my adult children and my husband and my brother. It's not the same. She didn't have those friendships. So when, long story short, she had to go to rehab and she was in rehab for 6 weeks and she blossomed there because there was a lot of community things going on. They had bands that would come in, they had, book clubs, they had everybody was dining together. And that's when I convinced her. I said, let's move out of the condo and let's move over to Independence Village. And she absolutely loved it.
She loved it. Yeah. Yep. And she was happy. And you were able to go there and visit her too, instead of.
Oh yeah, I had dinner with the lady at Independence Village, set her up with these 5 ladies so that her dinner companions were the same people every night. These ladies were just like her, very dynamic, successful in their careers. And yeah, I loved going to dinner with them because I would just sit back and listen to their stories. And it was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, like so there's friends and there's people there, and throughout the day, and they're not lonely. And you worry about that with your parents. I know, say for example, you're a widow and your husband or wife passes away, and you live all these years with somebody, and so it's hard. And then kids, some live in state, some don't, and it's hard to divvy up time to be able to see them all the time. So, it could cause a little depression living at home versus in this, in a an environment, there's only a couple of pathways typically is that you have someone there For example, like say we have our caregivers and be a companion, someone there they could talk to, hang out with, go out to dinner with, and you can actually, go have, if you do transition to an assisted living also too, as well, is that you could bring a caregiver in the room, and you have the right and the choice to have your own care professional there, because they can also be lonely in their room in an independent living facility, or they just may be at risk of showering there in that facility too, and you could still have a care professional be with them and making sure that they're safe there too. So, and that's also one of the amenities that we wanted to also let family members know, is that there's also care that can be provided just like you're at home in all these facilities that are going on. And you have the right and the choice just to be able to make that choice and the decision. Any advice you would give, or an inspiration to our seniors out there based on your experience and all the years you being in the real estate industry? Is that, what inspiration can you give to our families out there?
Just communicate with each other and just be there for each other and love each other, and it all works out.
Great. Yep. Man, I think we all agree, especially being in our senior care group, is that start having conversations early about changes they have to do with your parents, and don't wait for a crisis to happen or wait for something to occur with their medical condition to be able to have that conversation, because it's a little bit more harder, and so, but thank you, Deborah, for sharing all your expertise and your insight, and having a niche market in the senior care industry in the real estate world, and helping our seniors advocate during these really great times that they can be in, and really exciting time for them to be able to move on to a new change in their life,
Yeah, a little more something exciting and
great
fun.
and fun. Well, thank you for joining us at our show, and we will talk to you soon.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.